Hi, Professor Mala Biyong from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in AI/ML and Cybersecurity. This week, Industry Connect session, we have with us Mr. Nishant Chaudhari, who has over 13 years of experience in MBA and engineering graduate with strengths in management, consulting, data science, AI/ML, deep learning, visualization, strategy, and product. Mr. Nishant Chaudhary is highly skilled in data analysis, business analysis, and Microsoft Excel. Besides this, he holds various certifications such as EDX, Honor Code Certificate for Explore Statistics with HAR, Algorithmic Trading and Stocks Essential Training, Algorithm, Algorithmic Trading and Finance Model with Python, R, and Stata Essential Training, etc. Mr. Nishant Chaudhary started his career with Amazon Web Service and is currently head of data science at Advanza. Thank you for giving us your time, sir. So let me hand over the session to you while we look forward to an engaging and interacting session, sir.
Thank you, Mala ma'am, for the warm introduction. Good evening, everyone. I believe, I've been already introduced on the skill set perspective. I just wanted to inform this as well, considering we have students who are having AIML background and wanted to learn analytics in detail. So, from a tool and technology perspective, we've been working on Python and R predominantly. But along with that, in the industry, we are also using other tools like Scala or you can say Go language or C, C++, HTML, Java, jQuery, and Power BI and Tableau. Okay, so why this is important? So before we start sharing my screen, I just wanted to inform you. This is my third interaction with the institute, and I've seen a good amount of interest from the college faculties as well as students in getting their career into data science. Okay, so when we start data science or when we get into our career as a data scientist or as a business analyst or a data analyst, the only thing which we'll be doing on a day on day basis is bringing insights so that the businesses can take informed decisions. Okay, so nothing is like a pre-planned machine learning algorithm or a standard algorithm which will just plug and play and it starts giving results, right? So what we have to do is we have to step back. We have to understand the problem statement. We have to understand what exactly are the issues with any particular business. It can
So,
be,
so
yeah,
one second. Can you
yeah,
please switch on the video, sir?
yeah. I've done that. I think there is some tech connectivity issue. I'm not able to do that.
Okay.
I'm trying to share my screen as well. If that is visible, just please let me know on that
Yeah,
part
sure,
as well.
sure. Yeah, sure. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So guys, just let me know if you're able to see my screen as well. Okay. So this is the dashboard that we'll be talking in general, like how we are building it, why we are building it, and the essence behind it. So what I was saying is, so in industry, whenever we are trying to work on any business case, we have to first understand what is the problem statement. So always make sure that we understand three elements. And whenever you are trying to get your career into data science after your engineering or your degree, technically you will be working in three different domains. One, where you will be working with getting the data sorted, right? Trying to understand the field elements, trying to understand the relationships, like how the data is being stored. Like some references are like this, right? Whenever you're having database, how there are different tables being created, how they are joined, how the refresh history is being created, how to get the right data to understand or to do further analysis, where we say this is all data mining, data engineering, right? That is one stream of the analysis or our business, right? When we identify the right kind of data, when we identify how the data is being used or what kind of data is required, the next step is to perform analysis. That analysis generally starts with MS Excel. Okay, we just get the data on Excel, we try and do different filtering, we try and create pivot tables and understand what exactly are the insights which which we are getting from the data, right? And that basic analysis will help us to form different hypotheses, and that hypothesis is nothing just like beliefs, right? So suppose if we were working with Amazon and we are thinking that okay, the belief system is that during weekends people are more free time, or they're having free time, they will do more shopping, or they might explore more products in their free time because they are having comparatively a more you can say extra time to figure out onto the websites and all. So that was an hypothesis. But when we see the data, we see that okay, our offers are generally running on weekdays. Weekends we generally don't have much offers because of the traffic and all. So we try and prove our hypothesis using the actual data. But there are always a belief, right? That belief is we call as hypothesis. And similarly, we try and test, analyze the data in different fields. So this field is called as analysis, data analysis, or you can extend it to machine learning or predictive analytics, right? There are different, you can say, uh, advances in analysis part that we are not getting into the detail of it. But one part is data engineering, then the analysis, and the last part, which is very important, which off late the industry has also realized, is to build the stories, right? To show the data in a more constructive way, or in a way where businesses can take actions, right? That is called as data visualization layer. And that is very important because our business stakeholders are not technical. They don't have the technical background, right? Whenever they are trying to see the results that you are working, or the analysis that you are doing, that has to be presented in a well, you can say, a visual way, or in a better story which covers what was the problem, what kind of analysis we did, how it will be helpful in terms of the business analysis and the journey of it. So that's where the visualizations or the storytelling kind of skills will come in place, right? And for that, so if you talk about now, these are the three areas in data engineering, data analysis, and data visualization. Now if we talk about what is just one skill or tool that is required at each end, so at the data engineering, you can just learn SQL just to get data out of it and do various analysis. One tool is good enough. Second, data analysis, you can learn Python or R. Little bit of Microsoft Excel is also required just to play around on the spreadsheets. And the last part, you can either learn Tableau or Power BI. There are other players also which are on similar lines, but it is the knack that we have to understand what kind of visualizations we do. Now, having said that, along with visualization, we are now saying that the visual tools were not equipped enough with advanced analytics, right? So only we are trying to build just a graph and bar chart, just like we are doing it on Excel or any primary basic tool. And that's the topic for our today's discussion or our today's presentation, right? How we can do some advanced analytics or some advanced analysis using data visualization tool or the BI tool like Power BI or Tableau. So for now, we are taking Tableau as Power BI as a reference. Tableau, the comparative study, we can take that as in questions or any clarification if our friends are having on the chat, that we can do that. And the analytical tool is R for now. Similarly, it exact on Python, you can also try and do the analysis in parallel, right? So this is what is the topic for today's discussion. How, what kind of advanced analytics we can do on Power BI in general, how do we generally present any specific information on Power BI, how we manage these dashboards in general. Okay, so in case if you want to practice it afterwards, it's all free software. Okay, you can install R Studio on your system. I'll share the references. You can do that along with Python. Anaconda distribution is free, and Power BI is also free. In terms of pro version, you can get for 2 week 2 months of free trial, and after that the pro version will not be there. Generally pro versions are basically when you try and work in a collaborative way in organizations, so we don't require pro version, but in case if you want to play around with it, you have 60 days of free trial period where you can work on it as well. Okay, so I would definitely appreciate if we can make these sessions interactive, but not by taking direct questions and you unmute yourself and ask the question so that the flow generally get disturbed, or the kind of questions. What I would expect, or I would urge this to everyone, is whatever topic that we are covering, whatever doubt is coming in your mind, please put it on the chat. Okay, so in meanwhile, in between, if we just look into the chat, I'll take all the questions which are relevant from that particular discussion perspective, and the questions which are required in the following sessions or at the end of the sessions. Okay, So we'll look into it 2 times, one in the middle of the session and one at the end. So we'll have sufficient time to do interactions and to solve for all the queries that you guys are having. But I would definitely request everyone to put all kind of queries which are coming in your mind. Please don't think that this is a simple query or it's very hard. Just put up whatever is coming in your mind. Okay. So from Power BI perspective, how to install this? So there, if you go to, let me just open this link. So if you just put it over here, Power BI download, desktop download, will take you to the Microsoft website. But from last year, October onwards, the download are not directly available over here on their website. So if you click on download, it will take you to the Microsoft store like this. Okay, and on the store, you can just click on get download or just click on the download part. Here, I'm getting open as an option because I've already downloaded it. You can just download it from here and you can start working on it. Okay, that's how you can download Power BI on your system. To download R and Python, okay, I would request you to directly download it from CRAN. Okay, from CRAN. Okay, so these are the websites that you can download, the respective tools and languages which are required for the current demo. Right, for this CRAN R, you can click on download R for Windows, and in this order only you have to download. You have to first download Power BI, then you download R, then you download R Studio. Okay, after downloading R from CRAN, you download R Studio. Okay, what exactly is R Studio? Is an IDE, integrated development environment. Whatever code languages are there, we require an environment to write that particular code and to see the results output and all, right? So this way you download this R Studio desktop and you're good to go. These are the three tools that are required, or you can say in the order we need to download this. And once we have this, we'll start looking into the data directly. So whatever references that we are using today, or the reference we are having in the current demo, the reference is coming from the free data source. So that free data source is over here, which is there in the link. So let me just put this up in the chat so that it is there for everyone's reference, even after our call. Okay. So this is the reference. Why we are using free data source? Because this is the only data source. Okay, don't just take this particular data as just one random example. I'll tell you 60% of the data scientists are using the same data source and the exact same data, because this covers all line of analysis. You can do sales forecasting, you can do collections analysis, supply chain, you can do all kind of analysis of the field of data analysis using the same data. Okay, so this is very interesting data. You can just download it. Now, if you see this, if you click on this particular URL, you see this kind of a visual. What exactly is this? This is the data which has been stored in the HTML format, right? It's the XML base. So if I try and open this, there is this category. This category is the table, right? And if I try and open the table, I see just the title, nothing else. So technically, I cannot use this data as it is in getting this particular data into any particular form of analysis, be it Excel or be it Power BI. So what we'll do is we'll use this link, okay, as a web URL and get the data on our Power BI. Okay, so what we do, the same link, now you open Power BI. Okay, so in Power BI, you click on get data. So whenever we click on get data, we have hundreds of such options to get the data from all kind of sources. Generally, the sources are three. That one is flat files like Excel or CSV. The second sources are database like MS SQL or any other particular database, which is NoSQL or MongoDB or anything. And the third part is where you can connect it to any particular program, or you can say that applications where via APIs you can get the data from. Okay, so these are the three pieces. Now you see for our reference, what are we going to use? You see here, there are, if you click on other examples, we have web, we have OData feed, we have SharePoint, we have everything. So in our case, whatever data that we are using from the open data source, we'll be using OData feed as our input connector here. We can definitely use web connector as well, but when we use web connector, when you're trying to get the data which is directly there on the website as a table. Okay, so in case if you are interested, I can give you a demo on that as well. Whatever data, just like our stock market data or our currency data, USD INR rate data, which is there on the website on xe.com, right, or on moneycontrol.com. There, if you want to get the data, you can use web connector, but for all our references, we use the OData feed, which is our free data connector with the online version, right? So when you click on this, it asks you for the URL. As soon as you click on you paste the same URL which I have added in our chat, you'll see the data is loaded like this. So in Power BI, if there is multiple tables, like in Excel also, there are multiple sheets. If you click on any particular sheet, it will tell you that how this particular sheet looks like, because sometimes when we have multiple sheets and the different names, we have to figure out, okay, are we using the right data or not. So in here, the data or the tables that we are interested in, we will select this. So this is just a lookup, right? If I'm clicking, I'm not technically selecting, I'm just looking at the preview, and I'm not interested in all the tables. So the tables which I'm interested in, I'll just click on the checkbox over here, like I'm interested in categories. Okay, followed by customers. Okay, then I will have order details and orders. Okay, and products. These are the 5 tables that we are going to use, or you can use in further to try and see various other linkages. Okay, so once you have this data, you click on transform data. Okay, not load, because if you click on load, technically the data will be directly loaded on a Power BI for doing our analysis further, right? We don't want to do that. Transform data, I will take it to an in between layer, which we call as a staging layer, or an additional space where you can do various other analysis, or you can work on various other data cleaning activities, right? So that's where we will use transform data as an option. Okay, as soon as we click on transform data, okay, there will be a new window altogether which will be called as Power Query Editor. This Power Query Editor is exactly like our Excel Power Query. Okay, in Microsoft Excel as well, we have Power Query as an option, right? And this is the exact same Power Query action where we can link with data source from different areas. Once you have the data, if the data table are double, right? You see here, I'm getting category 2, 3, 4 because it's the same. Once you have the data, you do some cleaning. That cleaning is basically, you see here, these are all the errors, right? This category, order details, suppliers. So I'm deleting these errors. So whatever activity we do over here, right? You see, I have deleted one these particular columns. Then what I will do is I'll change. Suppose the supplier ID, I'm changing it from a fixed number to a decimal number. Okay, then I will also try and say I'll create some new field. So you see here, applied steps are being noted down over here right side. That means what is happening from first action source, I have connected it from the source, then I have navigated it to Power Query, then I have removed a set of columns. Which columns? If I click on this, I'll see the names in the query. This query is called as RM query. Okay, this is M query, which is Microsoft query, which technically there is no need to learn. Whatever actions you are doing as a user, you are capturing it over here, right? So you do this all these stages, and once all the whatever steps that you are doing, you will also try and figure out, are there any missing values, and this blue line will tell you that okay, there are no missing values. If there is any, you see here, we'll figure out that if we see any errors over here, you see here, this is not a connected blue line, there's a black line over there. It says there is 21% of the data which is missing values or empty. So you can deal with those data also here, like these are the null values. I will remove the null values, then I'll click on okay. As soon as I do that, that is being captured over here as a step as filtered rows, and here the line is also gone. That means there is no problem. Once we do all these kind of cleaning activities, okay, we are not getting to into the detail of this part. We'll focus more into the analytics. What we do sometimes name changes, we try and add more variables, right? That we do some merging or appending of queries, which are basically joining two tables, either joining side by side, that is called as merge, or join one below other if the variable names are same, that is called as append. Or else we can remove some columns, or we can create more columns, right? If we click on add columns, we can add some conditional column or some equations and things like that. Once everything is done, we'll just click on close and apply. Okay, this close and apply would load the data into our database like this. And now in your Power BI, you will see all the tables with their respective fields loaded in this. Okay. Now, if you want to build any visuals, technically, how we build that. So you see here, you can just take any visual from the preset. Okay, side. That means you can just click on any visual like this, a donut chart. It will just give you a preview of the donut chart. And then that donut chart, you can just add in what value you want. So suppose if I want the category names, as well as from a category name perspective, I also need one measure. Okay, this is a category is a dimension, right? It's a categorical variable. I need a dimension, so I'll take sales. Sales is a measure. So as soon as I select a particular measure, the visual gets created. And here the same visual can be transformed by just clicking on the same visual. I can just click on any other element. You see here, I can select any other thing, and the variable or the visual can be changed accordingly. Okay, so this is how you can just transform all the visuals, and you can use the best visuals. So so in case if you want to understand what visuals are important, which visual to be used in showing what kind of an information, I have a reference over here which talks about what kind of activities that we are doing, and in that sense what kind of visuals should we be using, right? So let me just zoom in a bit. I'll share it with the the college faculties. It will be there with you, don't worry on that part. So you see here, when you do comparison, you use these kind of visuals, the one which are like the color coded. Okay, the ones which are at the top where you see the tick mark, that is already there in Power BI from Microsoft Store. The other ones you can get it from the other players as well. So how to do that? So technically you just click over here and click on get more visuals. As soon as you click on get more visuals, these are all the laundry list of visuals, which are, some of them are from Microsoft, some of them are not from Microsoft. You see here the text filter and all from Microsoft is there. You just have to click on that, and as soon as you click on that, there'll be a reference of what how this visual can be used and all. And you just have to click on add, it will be added. Okay, but just make sure that you understand what all visuals are required. If we do comparison, we need two bar charts. We see that as a comparative state. If we want to put anything on a trend line or a change over a specific timeline, what basic thing comes in our mind is a line chart, right? But there are some other area charts and other charts as well into Gantt and mixed charts. Then the ranking, if you want to show what kind of visuals are there, right? These are the basic reference. This is the reference which is not useful only for Power BI. Okay, understand this part. This will help you in terms of designing some infographics as well. And nowadays, as you are in college, I just want to give that reference to you as well, that infographic resumes are also in nowadays. People are really making some interesting resumes using infographics, and that really creates a lot of a great impression about whatever work that you are doing, right? So these kind of things you can use to just build a story about your background and experience and projects. And you can refer this part, which you can see either, you see here, it's built in visual certified, or you can take it from here. There are some other references also, but that we'll not get into the detail part of it. But understand in which scenario you should use what kind of a visual. Okay, and some visuals are readily available, some you can just build it as a custom visual. Okay, so okay, so this is what we have from a visual creation perspective, just standard visuals which are there as it is. Okay, one thing which is important from an advanced analytics perspective is that, do we have any automated insights driven analysis, right? These are all called as descriptive analytics. Okay, whatever has happened, you see the pattern of it. Like right now, you see here, what is this visual telling us about? It's just showing we have a sales record from a particular companies, for which we have the categories like beverages, dairy products, meat, confectionaries, and what is the distribution of sales for each of these categories. That means the sales has already happened, right? It has happened in the past. Right now, we are just seeing, okay, in 2021, what was the sales of these categories, right? Similarly, if I just use this as a trend chart, I can just see for beverages what is the trend for last 2 years, 3 years, whether it is going up or down. These are called as descriptive analytics. Okay, whatever has happened, you just show that as a composition or a trend or an information. It doesn't talk about predictive analytics. Okay, the max to max we can add in the forecasting piece, but forecasting is very plain simple statistics, not even I don't say even statistics, it's just a mathematical computation, right? Basic computation. Now the forecasting has gone a little bit advanced, where we are using arima models or moving averages and these kind of things, if you want to try it at your end, which is basically like we are using it for weather forecasting as a basic principle. If the rain has happened yesterday, what is the chance of having rain today or tomorrow, and so on. Similarly, we see that okay, the crude oil price is moving down compared to having a high correlation with US stock market or the Fed rates or RBI repo rate and all, and you find different relationships, and then you see that okay, if one is going down, the impact on the other after 2 days, 5 days, 10 days is how much. Okay, that's how we try and fix it. So now that we are currently at the halftime, let me just see if we have any questions or queries in our chat, and we'll take that, and then we'll jump on to creating the smart visuals and getting into the R visual that we can create using the R connector. Okay, so let me just quickly see if we have any questions. Okay, that's from Malamam only on the survey link. Okay, guys, please feel free to add any questions that if in case if you are having. Okay, so we'll see this. Now there are two visuals. Okay, one is known as key influencers. So if I put key influencer, okay, this visual is not there in other platform. Okay, make sure that you understand this concept, that this pie chart, bar chart are available in all the visuals or all the platforms. But when we talk about Power BI, we have specific visual where you can just give some information of what kind of you can say information that you want to put in to analyze it, right? So suppose if I put like for category name, if I put it over here as expand by, and or else let me just put it our sales information in analyze. Okay, and explain by, suppose let me put any information from a individual name, country. Okay, explain by country and other information. Let me put all kind of analysis that we want to do. Okay, so if we try and figure out, let me just use this. Let's use product name as well, and let me remove this part. Okay, so see here the sales, what it is saying, what influences sales to increase or decrease. Okay, that's what we are trying to figure out. In that we are saying no influencers found, try adding some more fields into explain by column. That means we have to try and keep on adding different areas, angles, where we try and see that okay, what are the different information that we are trying to get from all these key influencers and the top segments. Let me just take this little bit out. Okay, so now we have country, we have category name, we have product name, we have region. We don't have any variance or reference, right? We see if we have any sales information, we can put in the variance part also instead of sales. You will try and see that okay, in case if you are focusing more into, okay, that has taken out. Just a moment. Yeah. So if you are trying to see any references on that part, let me just add references over here as well. Let me try and see if we have any sale size. No, sale size will not have any impact. Let me see if region only we are trying, we can add in over here. Okay. So I think this data will not be helpful in our getting this part. Let me try and get it from a metrics perspective then. We just quickly add this. Okay, I hope everyone is following at the with me in parallel. Okay, in case if you're doing it, please make sure that you take the same data and you see the analysis. Now you see here, the same part is now coming up as a key influences for each of the categories that we have added. See, now we are having multiple beverages and other tables that we are having. So right now it is only beverages. We can just take out the filter from beverages, and then we'll see that, okay, from a country perspective or what kind of you can say impact on year basis we are seeing, and where is the highest sales which are happening. So what is this data is showing us from an inside perspective is that if you see for one category for 1996, 1997, and 1998 for all the countries and their respective cities, we see the highest has happened in 1998 for Germany, for Kuhn city. Okay. Similarly, you will see that, okay, the minimum is where exactly and it is happening at which city. This expand and collapse can work for either at one level, or else we can just click on expand all or collapse all, and then you will see the information at a country level. So these kind of automated, apart from highlighting perspective, can be added directly away on your Power BI website. Okay, or on this visual, you can just click on publish, and it will be directly hosted on your application, which is a web URL. Okay, so this is how you can get some visuals which are automatically being driven in calculating the smart narration. Let me add the narration part now. Okay, so this was what kind of quick insights that we can generally work with. Now if you see here, if you go to insert, at the top you have Q&A session. This Q&A is basically talking about what kind of natural language processing that you can do with the particular data. What exactly is a natural language processing? It's just that the way we are having conversation, we are just talking like in the normal English, right? We are not using any coding language. Just like that, you can talk to your Power BI desktop and try and get any insights that you are looking for from the data as it is, even though if it is not actually present on the system. So let's try and do that. So I have added this Q&A session. This is my Q&A part. Okay, exactly the same part. If you want to see that how this can be built, let me just delete this and just click on Q&A. So as soon as we click on Q&A, this is how the visual or a particular place will be created. You just have to give a little bit of a space for this visual to see the answers. Now let me write down like, okay, what is the top country, okay, that with sales, with highest sales, right? If I click that up, I let me use this part. Let me just take this particular thing down and increase this. Now I see here, I'm getting the answer that, okay, it is US. What is the maximum sales? Is this is the information that we are getting, right? This is what I'm just writing like this, and it is converting it into the data. Now let me try and figure out if I write down which customer is having the maximum sale, right? Let me try and use that. So the customer, if I try, see the way I'm writing it, I see the answers at the back end. If I write down customers, it directly started popping up that, okay, the customers, they started taking the name. But customer name, okay, as per product category, you see here, whenever you are seeing any particular reference, you can just use this as a product name and then use that as a tab part. Either you select it or you write it down. All the information will be there with, again, or let's try and put that up. I have with highest sales only. See here, when I write it down, I get all the customers, the customer ID, their respective details with the highest sales in the decreasing order, right? So I can just talk to this particular data as it is and get the answer in either a graphical way or as a standard output, or as a, you can say, chart as well. Okay, this is how we can write down. We can also write down top city. Okay, you see here Boise is the top city that we are having. Top city for beverages, right? Should we use beverages, or let's use a particular other category? Let me use top city for, okay, let me use this for Berlin. In the Berlin, or let me use it for Germany. Now you see, we saw that in the previous data, the top city for Germany having maximum sales is Q, right? And this is the same exact thing that we are getting here. Though the data in the visual is not showing the same information, right? We can also try and write down any particular information on total sales. If I write down total sales, you see how much I am getting, 1.35 million. Is it the same visual that we have created here? Yes, it's the exact same visual. We have the total sales. If I write down total sales now by category, so now you see for beverages, dairy products and all, I have the category, and this is nothing but the exact same this particular chart. If I convert this chart, which is in the donut chart way, now if I convert it into the bar chart, you see this is the exact same chart which is created. So this is how the intelligence has been added right now in Power BI with the smart Q&A and narratives and key influences. Now we'll also try and see how the narratives has been built. Just like Q&A, now we have seen Q&A. Let me remove this part. Now along with Q&A, we also have over here which says, where exactly? Yeah. So now we have seen the key influences. We see that, okay, how the Q&A part can be added here or from the top, right? Then we also have smart narratives. If you click on smart narratives, okay, let me just take this part. As soon as I click on smart narratives, you see here, this is an automatic chart which is being created, or a text which is being created. I have not typed this, anything of this. What is this particular chart saying? That at this value, beverages had the highest sales. But that we also know, sales by category over here. You see, if I hover on that, I get the total sales value, which is nothing but the exact same in the smart narrative. Like 286526, exact same thing. Highest sales, which is 184% higher than the cereals and grains, which has the lower sales. So that means at the bottom, if I scroll it down, this from a sales perspective has what, 0.1 million sales, and that one has 28 million sales. That means it is 184% higher than this particular category, and this is nothing but an insight, and this is what the company will be interested in. Okay, don't show this information as it is, and that's why we say the advanced analytics and the insights, how it is reforming the industry, right? You just use all these things, it will give you all the information as it is on the flow. Plus it says across all 8 categories ranging from this is the range, plus this is all already been driven kind of intelligence. Now what you can do is, either you try and write down on this, okay, you can write down whatever information that you are looking at, or else you can write down your own typing like this, and see across all 5 products, sales aim is ranging in this, overall sales for the current year is this, sales is growth for this. You can write down here as well from the growth perspective. You see here, highest growth, just like this you can write down highest growth in sales for categories. How, what for categories is this, what exactly is this? So highest growth, you can put it like this as it is. You can click on value. As soon as you click on value, you just have to write down the value that you are looking at. Y and Y growth, you just click on save. As soon as you click on save, it will see that, okay, the highest growth we are seeing right now is 80%, and that is automatically populated. Now if we do any filtering action, okay, that might be coming in your mind, like if I go to country, and instead of that, if I select Argentina, right, my insights will be reformed for Argentina. Now you see the growth rate is 473.95 from 80%, plus the insight highest sales is now changed for Argentina. Similarly, if I select Brazil, right? It will be changed for Brazil. So these kind of automated insights is also very much appreciated in the industry that you should be learning or you should be practicing. Okay. Now the last part is where we try and see how we can connect the data with R or Python. So for that, there are two things. You see here for get data, if you click on more, you can get the data from an R script perspective. Okay. What exactly is an R script? It is exactly an R language. Okay. So just like SQL can understand the SQL syntaxes, right? We can also understand. Let me just remove whatever we have loaded over here. Just quickly remove that. Yeah. So now if I write down over here as R, okay, now I have R script and Python script. Now, what exactly is this R script? Is basically if we can load the data via R script. Okay, just like we can load the data from Excel and Power BI, we have this. Now, what is required to run this particular script? We should have the R installation, which on my system is there in program files are R version 4.1.1. Please don't look into the version and get confused. This is my older version that I'm using. Now it might be 4.7.8 or something. That will not be creating any impact on that part. Okay. But you make sure that whenever you are getting the data from R, you can see the connections on Power BI. And how we generally do that, if you go to file and you go to options and settings, if you go to options, you see on the connectors whether the R scripting connector has been enabled or not. You see here, if I go to R scripting, it says detected R home directory at this location. Okay. Similarly, do I have an IDE, which we just said that we need to download R Studio? This is what we have in the R Studio as well. Now, if you don't have R installed over here, it's saying that how to install R. You can click on it, and then it will take you to the website, which will give you the same reference that we have used right now. Okay, how we can install? You see here, it's showing CRAN repository, exact same thing. Plus step by step, you see they'll say that okay, what how you see the visual, how you get the data. It will ask you to enable the file whenever you are getting the data, and in what sense you can run this. Okay, so Microsoft has given a lot of good references which will help you to quickly onboard onto any such new tool or technology. Okay, as soon as we click on this, you see this is there. Now there is a data connector which is required. So now you see here on my screen, this is our studio. Okay, whatever code that we are running over here, the same code we can run it on Power BI, which was not there earlier. For last 6 years, this was the challenge because of which people were not using Power BI or any visual tool, because there is no advanced analytics or analytics possible, right? So now with this connectors, what we have is that the same code over here. So this is a look and feel of, you can say, R Studio, where on the left hand side I can write down my code. Below that I can see the result. By default it shows me which version that I have installed of R. As soon as I write down and run a particular code, it will give me reason over here. This part will tell me if the data is loaded, what is the character type, what is the field elements. The bottom part will tell me the libraries, because the languages works on libraries. Like there are different libraries like calculation libraries, visualization libraries, right, production libraries. So you need to load those libraries to work on those syntaxes, right? So as this is a free source, every month, every day, there will be some person who's adding something, and it's a free source, so they can create your own libraries. If you're thinking that whether you can create your own libraries, yes, you can also create your own package. You can host it on the website. You have to start marketing it. Once people start downloading it, you'll also get credits, but it has to be universally accepted from the data loss perspective. That is where the team of Microsoft team and other teams will just go and then check and just give you a certification or a rating. But otherwise, you see here, you need to first download the libraries. How you do that? With this particular code. So now you see here, let me show it to you. I have downloaded it over here. You see here, as either you click on install dot packages and you write down the name, or else you go at the top from the install packages, and this is required to be done on R Studio, guys. You cannot do installation on Power BI. Okay, so for R, you need to have all the installations on your language or the environment before you start using it on any other environment. Right? You see here, if I write down any package that I'm going to use, like ggplot2 or anything, I just select it and I click on install. Okay. If I click on that was just a warning. Now you see here, as soon as I run this, the same code is being run as an execution over here. Okay. So now what it's saying is not currently used. Our tools are not used. The warning are there. It will be already be there. It will not be installed if I don't have this. But technically, it will be all these free softwares will be installed directly. So do I have that installation after that? How you check that? Once you are done with the downloading part, you have to select that particular library, and that call is library ggplot2. How to run this? Either you click on control enter or else you click on run. If I'm clicking library ggplot2 and it doesn't give me any error over here, that means the code has been executed properly. So I have executed ggplot2, then I'm running the reader part. This reader library is also very important from the reading data from CSV or Excel perspective. What data are we going to read? We are going to read this movie data, this data, which has first column as the rank of that particular movie, then the movie name, and then the you can say the business that particular movie has done in the opening theaters, total revenue, studio, the all their gross theater margins and so on. Right? These are the details that we are having. So for that, first we have to select this setting working directory. This set WD code, that means setting working directory, is just like where exactly is your data being stored. It can be a folder, it can be a subfolder. You just have to give a path to that particular path. Okay, once you have that path being given, you just have to give the name of that particular file that you want to download. Okay, same code. Okay, we are not getting into the criticalities that you can give the same movie data read.csv before this as a path and then you can write it over here. That is also possible, but that is not advised because sometimes we work on multiple files and we cannot keep on changing that. So because of that, we set the working directory and then we will load the data. So as soon as I select this particular code and then I click on run, I'll see the data is being loaded and I can view the data by clicking on view movie data. See here, what is the reference that we are getting? The data for rank, movie title, opening theaters, revenue, all these details are available. You see here as it is for our reference. That means we are able to run the data using this code. Okay, this particular code like this. Okay, so if we have to get the data onboarded, what we'll do, we'll go over here on our data. Let me just see this. Okay, I think that's flow is gone. So let's do this thing again. So you run the same code of getting the data from our script. Click on our script, click on connect, give that the same file, click on OK. And you see, as soon as you click on OK, you will get the movie data right now. This might look very simple, but technically, this is the same data set that we have seen from the rank, movie title, opening theaters, and the same thing, which was in Excel. So you can definitely download the same part from Excel itself. Why you are downloading it on R first? Why the same code you are downloading in Power BI? Because sometimes we do the cleaning activities and we do the analytics, that the stage that I am talking about, right after data engineering, we do the data analytics. After data analytics, you get the data source from the same R or Python, and that Python code will be enabled over here on this particular file. So that means all your analysis will also be done on Power BI and the results can also be published over here. So what is the limitation on that skill? So let me just show that to you. By clicking on transform data, we'll get the data as it is. Okay, let me just click on transform data. So we have the data. The only thing we have to make changes is that you see here, this is my revenue. This gross theta is my revenue, but what is the data type? It is stored as text. And if I start doing the analysis on this, this will give me errors. So what I'll do is I'll just convert it into whole numbers. But then I'll get error. So then what we should be doing, if we start converting it into error, this will give us the error like this. So what we will do is we'll just keep that as it is. Okay, and we load the data. After loading the data, we will change it over here. Let me just show it to you. After loading the data, we have this field, and in this field we can just go over here and then convert it into whole numbers and things like that. Okay, as soon as you click on that, the dollar sign and other things will just go away, and then you will be able to see all the information as it is. Okay, now instead of currency, you can just select on general, you can select any particular element, and then you can see here dollar sign is now gone. So now for any numerical analysis I want to do, I can directly do that as it is. Right, so once this is done, the next thing is to see if we can run any visual code. So how that can be done, let me just show it to you. Once this data is loaded, now we can click on R script visual. As soon as you click on R script visual, you see this kind of a visual is created. And when you select any particular data and put that data into the data field, this R script editor is enabled. And in this R script enabled data, first you have to click on don't summarize, and then you can write down any code which says paste your code over here, and then you can see the visual over here. So why do we use these kind of visuals, though we already have the bunch of visuals? Because there are some visuals which are available on Python and R, like box plot or correlation plots and histogram, which is not there over here. Histogram is not there if I want to see the distribution. So for depending on those kind of visuals, we can use our predefined R code, which you can either Google and get the data accordingly, right? You can just go over here, write down R code for histogram, right? And then you can directly get the histogram code from either the any reference. You see here, this is the code. How you can get it? The references are already given, and then how it will look like is also been given. So now, if this is the reference, what we'll do is, if and this is the histogram that I want to build in, I have written just this code which says hist total gross theaters, and we have the histogram ready with us. Just two liners, and then we can run the same code. Similarly, if I want to use correlation chart, calling library is very important. Getting the data set into a specific field name is important. This is just one single line with which I have created histogram. Similarly, if I want to add color, because this histogram is a black and white color, if I want to add color, the only code that I'll be using is again a reference over here like this, where I have added border as black and color as red. Now instead of red, if I want to see that into a different color, I can just use it as it is, and then I can click on run. And instead of red, I will now see the result as blue. Just one liner, and I'll see the histogram, I'll see the distribution, I'll see the advanced part of the analytics from an R code perspective. Now similarly, we have for correlation as well. Okay. So these are the references, like how we can integrate R and see the visuals, and we can run that along with our other analysis which we are having, right? So this is all we having for a quick demo for today. Let me take all the questions which are having on our chat, and we'll see that in case if you need anything around the same pointer or anything else. Let me stop sharing my screen then. We are open to take any questions either on chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask as well. Anyone having any questions?
Participants, if you are having any questions, you can ask.
Okay, do practice that. I believe that people are just looking into it. If you are not doing practicing, please don't take webinars as a video recording thing. Okay, please do practice. We will definitely have questions. In case if you have questions even afterwards, we will be happy to help you out on all your concerns and queries. Okay, I believe no one has any questions. Mala ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, okay, sir. I thank Department of Computer Science Engineering, AML and Cybersecurity, and Futurance Technologies for organizing the Industry Connect session every Saturday religiously. And we are definitely grateful to our resource person today, Mr. Nishant Chaudhari, for being a part of our Industry Connect session. So he is explained very well with the data visualization part. Even I've learned today. Thank you so much, sir. And thanks to Dr. V. Vivek, the head of the Department of Computer Science Engineering in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning and Cybersecurity, and the team of our faculty members for all their support they offer. And thank you, students, for participating in this session. Happy weekend and good night.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
have
you.
a great weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same to you, sir. Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, we'll wind up the session. Thank you, everyone.